The sea has always been a mystery, both a giver of life and a taker of souls. Long before the great empires claimed the Caribbean, before maps knew every island's name, there was a storm that changed the course of legend forever. It began with a fisherman named Marlowe, a man of calm hands and restless dreams. Though he spent his life casting nets and mending sails, his heart always drifted toward the horizon. He spoke often of pirates, not as villains, but as men who lived free beneath no flag but the wind. One night, as lightning tore across the sky and the sea roared like a beast awakened, Marlowe set sail despite the warning of the clouds. His wife was heavy with child, and the storm came too fast for escape. Waves rose taller than the masts, crushing wood like paper. The ship shattered, and in the chaos, Marlowe clung to a broken beam, holding his wife close. For 3 days, they drifted, lost between the living and the drowned, until the sea, in its strange mercy, cast them upon the shore of an uncharted island. They built a shelter from wreckage and waited for rescue. But no ship came. Weeks turned into months, and on that lonely island, beneath the shadow of palms and the endless sound of waves, a child was born. The sea was his cradle, and the storm his lullaby. They named him Arion, after the song of the ocean's wind. When the boy was barely a year old, sails finally appeared on the horizon, a pirate vessel passing through forbidden waters. The crew found the family and brought them back to the mainland. But the island, the storm, and the strange birth would mark Arion's destiny forever. Even as a boy, he could sense the pull of the tide, the rhythm of the wind, and the whispers of something deep beneath the surface. They said he was born of the sea, and the sea never forgets its own. The mainland where Arion grew up was called Eldermere, a quiet coastal land where the wind always smelled of salt and freedom. Arion grew up helping his father with fishing, but deep inside, his heart always belonged to the sea. He admired pirates, not for their crimes, but for their courage, their freedom, their defiance against fate. Every evening at the docks, an old sailor would sit by the fire telling stories about a mysterious ship of the dead, a ghostly vessel said to hold endless treasures. The old man always ended the story with the same words. Only the worthy one can ever see the ship. Those words stayed with Arion.
Years passed, and one evening as he returned from fishing with his father, he heard faint whispers rising from the waves. At first, he thought it was the wind, but as days went by, the whispers grew louder, calling his name. Each time he sailed past that part of the sea, the whispers followed him like an echo. Then came the dreams. Night after night, Arion saw visions of an island and the ship the old sailor spoke of. Only this time, the dream showed him how it all began. Long ago, when gods, monsters, and pirates ruled the sea, a crew of ruthless men stole a ship from a royal fleet. During their escape, the ship was badly damaged and began to sink. As they drifted in panic, they spotted a magnificent vessel in the distance, a grand ship that gleamed like the sun, as if made of pure gold. Thinking it was abandoned, they climbed aboard. Inside, every wall and floor shone with treasures beyond imagination. Gold carvings lined the deck, and jewels glimmered in every corner. The pirates laughed and claimed it as theirs. But deep below the deck, they heard a strange cry, soft, innocent, and haunting. When they followed the sound, they found a baby lying in a cradle of glowing silk. The child's eyes shimmered like moonlight. They didn't know she was an extraordinary baby. She was a goddess born of the sea itself. Out of fear and greed, the pirates threw her into the ocean. Moments later, the sea turned black. Thunder rolled across the sky, and a towering wave rose higher than any they had ever known. From the depths, the mother of the child, the goddess of tides, emerged. Her grief became rage, and her voice thundered across the ocean. Your souls shall never rest. Your ship shall be your prison, your gold your curse. You shall sail forever in loneliness and pain. The sea exploded with fury. The ship began to move on its own, as though alive. The pirates tried to flee, but invisible walls held them in. Their flesh began to rot, yet they could not die. Their screams faded into eternity as the ship vanished into mist. From that day on, no sailor saw them again. Only legends remained of a ghost ship sailing endlessly, carrying cursed souls bound by greed and guilt. And this was the vision that haunted Arion. He could no longer ignore the call. One night, guided by whispers and dreams, he took his father's boat and sailed into the unknown. After many days at sea, he saw an island appear through the fog, the same island from his dreams. The moment his feet touched the sand, he felt something strange, familiar. The cliffs, the palms, the way the waves sang. It was exactly how his mother described the island where he was born. As he explored deeper, he found it, the ship of gold, standing silent at the shore, untouched by time. Its sails hung still, and the air around it was heavy with mystery. Arion stepped closer, heart pounding, knowing his life was about to change forever.
The ship stood before Arion like a silent monument of gold, shimmering beneath the last breath of sunlight. The air was heavy and still, as if time itself had stopped to watch him. The sea lay calm, yet something deep beneath its surface stirred. Arion climbed aboard. Each step echoed across the deck, and the sound of his feet blended with the faint groans of the ship's old bones. The interior glittered beyond imagination, walls coated with gold, floors littered with jewels, crowns, and relics from forgotten empires. Yet, amidst all the beauty, there was a haunting emptiness, a silence that pressed upon his chest like a weight. As he moved deeper, the air grew colder. The whispers that had called to him since childhood began to return, no longer distant or unclear, but now closer, circling around him like the breath of the sea. The ship began to tremble, and from the mist rose figures, the cursed souls of the old pirates, bound forever to the vessel that had once been their pride. Their eyes burned with pain and sorrow. The ocean darkened. Waves began to rise, and lightning traced the sky. A light broke through the storm clouds above, descending in the shape of a radiant figure, the goddess of the tides. The sea that had once brought him into the world had now come to claim him. Arion stood still as the truth unfolded before him. He realized that his birth on the island, his dreams, his visions, none were accidents. The sea had chosen him long before he could ever choose it. He was the bridge between man and ocean, between curse and redemption. The ship began to break apart, glowing from within as if consumed by fire made of light. The trapped souls were lifted one by one, carried into the sky by the rising waves. The curse that had chained them for centuries began to fade, and the sea, long restless, began to calm. Arion felt the water rise around him, not in rage but in acceptance. The same waves that had once tried to take his life now embraced him as their own. His body dissolved into the mist, his spirit merging with the tide. When the storm ended, the golden ship was gone, swallowed by the deep. Only silence remained, and the gentle whisper of the sea. As centuries passed, his name faded, and stories changed. Some spoke of a ghost ship that appeared and vanished under the moonlight, carrying treasures that could never be claimed. Others told of a mysterious compass said to belong to a pirate who once sailed between life and death. But among the oldest sailors, the truth was never forgotten, that before all the tales, before the legends and the movies, there was a man named Arion, born of the storm, who became the sea's eternal guardian. And thus began the real story that the world would one day remember as the Pirates of the Caribbean.